And then moving on from the ICF framework are the favourite words, and that sort of builds on that last framework and thinks about with children and with young athletes all the parts of their life that will affect their participation in sport or their participation in anything. So the 6 favourite words are fitness, so how their body works, function, their actual ability to move, friends, the social circle they have around them, family, which again is their environment, and fun. What they enjoy is a really important part. And then future, which is what all child development is about. And it's about combining all these different favourite words and considering your athlete and your child with cerebral palsy as with all aspects that take part, that make up their life. And you can, on that website there, they have a poster in lots and lots of different languages that you can download about all these favourite words. So their participation in sport will be influenced by all these different factors, but it can also impact on all the different factors. Does anyone have any questions at the moment?
The difference between the CP and the Special Olympics.
Someone with cerebral palsy may also have an intellectual impairment, so then they could take part in Special Olympics. So the thing to remember is that cerebral palsy primarily is a physical impairment. So just because someone has cerebral palsy does not mean they have an intellectual impairment.
No.
The main thing that we want to say is that don't assume somebody with cerebral palsy has an intellectual impairment, and so they don't necessarily go straight to Special Olympics, but they may just have a physical impairment.
Exactly.
For the causes, is there a cause that is predominant versus the others?
Yeah, the most common type is this. So if it's a difficult birth, so if there's some complication while the baby is being born, which means that they then the birth is slow, so they don't they don't get oxygen, then that's the most common type.
Okay.
But that's in Europe and in America, but then in other countries like in Southern Asia, it's very common for the mother to get an infection, which then causes the cerebral palsy. So the causes quite often are different throughout the world, but the most common type is the difficult birth. So with cerebral palsy, so with the sports that we recommend or that we develop, and at all of our competitions and events, we're not just including cerebral palsy, we also include all related conditions. And that's the same with IPC sports and the cerebral palsy classifications. That can also include these other conditions which result in similar impairments to what is seen with cerebral palsy. Yeah, I'll listen. Yeah. So this list here are some examples, but there will be other conditions that also that will result in similar impairments, but these are the most common. So you've got an acquired or traumatic brain injury. So an acquired brain injury is a brain injury that's not caused by an external force. So it could be like a stroke is a type of an acquired brain injury, or it could be from a near drowning, or any event that causes the brain to be damaged. And a traumatic brain injury is one that is caused by an external force, like a blow to the head, or car accident, something like that. So, like I said, a stroke is a type of acquired brain injury. It can be the same mechanism that causes cerebral palsy, but for it to be called a stroke, it happens after the age of 2. So before the age of 2, it's cerebral palsy. After the age of 2, it's called a stroke. Friedreich's ataxia is a genetic disorder that affects the messages being sent from the brain, and it causes ataxia. And the same with spinocerebellar ataxia. That's a group of conditions, but it's also genetic and it causes ataxia. These other ones, Barr syndrome and hereditary spastic paraparesis, are also genetic, and they're both really quite rare, but they result in similar impairments to what is seen with cerebral palsy. And the last one, dystonia, is in there because dystonia can be caused by other conditions than just cerebral palsy, and sometimes people just have dystonia, like with multiple sclerosis or with Parkinson's disease, you can get dystonia. So like I said, this is not an endless list. These are some examples which people with these would qualify to take part in cerebral palsy sports. So we've spoken about a few of these already, but this is just some facts about cerebral palsy to remember when you are meeting athletes with cerebral palsy. So no two people who have cerebral palsy will be affected in exactly the same way. I've been working with people with cerebral palsy for over 10 years, and I've never met two people who are exactly the same. 1 in 3 people with cerebral palsy are unable to walk. 1 in 4 people with cerebral palsy are unable to talk verbally. One thing to mention is that just because they can't talk verbally doesn't mean they have an intellectual impairment. It might just be that their muscles that allow them to speak are affected, but their brain intellectually is still fine. 3 in 4 people with cerebral palsy experience pain. And with this, I mean regular pain every day. 1 in 4 people with cerebral palsy have epilepsy, and that's because of the brain damage. 1 in 10 have a severe visual impairment. And 1 in 2 people with cerebral palsy have an intellectual impairment. So this can be very, very mild. And with the exception of very severe cases of cerebral palsy, it is not life-threatening. So a child with cerebral palsy will usually grow up to be an adult and an old person with cerebral palsy unless the cerebral palsy is very, very severe. It's not contagious, and also it's not hereditary, it's not passed in your genes, but it is incurable. So you can't cure the brain damage, but you can treat the symptoms that the person has. Cerebral palsy is permanent, but it's not unchanging. So that means that it will likely change over the course of someone's life, and it is manageable, so it is treatable. Although not curable, you can still treat the symptoms. We've spoken a little bit about the different therapies that people may have who have cerebral palsy. So physiotherapy and occupational therapy. We've got a few physios in here, but so you'll know that it's about improving their movement and or providing equipment. And occupational therapy can be used to help them complete daily tasks like eating or washing. Occupational therapy can be used for that. Speech therapy is used to help with their speech, so it might be to do with providing a communication device, or also to help with their swallowing and their eating. Orthotics can be used to help hold muscles in certain positions to help with walking, or it might be an arm brace to help with activities. And orthotics is used in combination with physiotherapy to help guide the muscles as they grow. And then there's also medication and surgery. So medication can include the anti-spasticity medication like baclofen or Botox, or it could be anti-epileptic medication to help reduce the number of fits that somebody has. And then with surgery, the most common surgery for people with cerebral palsy is orthopedic. So it might be on their bones or muscles. But there is also selective dorsal rhizotomy, which is only for really specific cases. That's when they actually do surgery on the nerves in the person's spine to help permanently reduce the amount of spasticity in their legs.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is a person with CP having been with, like he said, in a classroom with other students who are pupils who are normal, who have or had superior capacities and skills, does it make his case worse?
Yeah.
Does it impact him negatively?
If they just go to a mainstream school?
Yeah.
No. Claire? You went to a mainstream school?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have always, or I was always in a mainstream school. I was always the first disabled student in that school, and I was always the only one. And I was on the school netball team. I was on the school hockey team. I played cricket. I actually played football. I actually
Nice.
did everything. I actually did
Yeah, of course.
woodwork, art, pottery, everything else.
Yeah.
And I was treated as exactly the same, as like any other student.
Yeah, I think that.
I had no help in school at all, so I just had to manage. No, it wasn't very clever. I was way behind my peers, but I still left school with actually what I needed to, and that was what it's about.
He says that it's the environment, it's how the other kids accept that person or doesn't accept.
Yeah.
Because Claire had probably the advantage of being in the UK,
Yeah.
but here they might,
Yeah.
they might.
I still was bullied every day in school.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. It was just actually one of those things that I had to get over. So they tried to trip me up. They shut doors, like in my face, everything, and it was just I had to learn to get on with it, and that's what I did.
I think even in the UK there's still that problem of acceptance and inclusion, but it is getting better, and it's getting better because we talk about disability a lot, and awareness of disability is quite good in the UK, so that's what we all need to do. As we all here work in disability support, so we need to be showing what people with disabilities can do, and then that then leads on to better acceptance. But it's all step by step, and it's slow. We'll just go through a little bit about the different stages of life of someone with cerebral palsy, and then we'll break for lunch, and when we come back, we'll go into all the sports side of things.